feeling it. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I just coughed a lot, so I'm kind of out of it.
Oh, no.
But I'm glad you're
This is going to be an interesting podcast.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully I don't have to edit out too many coughs.
You know, they say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. But what would happen if one man filled another's with the scariest films of all time?
Who are you talking to?
Nothing? Ready to watch some movies?
Aw, yeah.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to Matt Makes Zac Watch Horror Movies. I'm Matt,
And I'm Zac.
and I made him watch a horror movie. What did we watch this week, Zac?
We watched Scream.
Yes.
Ah.
This is my all-time favorite horror movie. I'm so excited.
Wait,
Strap in, everybody.
this is your favorite?
This is my favorite horror movie.
I thought it was Halloween.
No, I love Halloween, but Halloween's like not even like my favorite Carpenter movie. That's the thing. My favorite horror movie is Scream, man.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wow.
I said it like 2 episodes ago.
Maybe just because Tim was like all about Halloween and we were so focused on that being his favorite, and then it was my favorite. So everybody's favorite is just Halloween.
It's true. It's a real good movie.
Also,
I don't blame you.
Also, to call you out in
I know
Halloween
I said
episode.
Lori's my favorite final girl.
Yeah. And then
But then rewatching Nightmare, I was like, no, it's Nancy. Like, but then watching this, I'm like, it's real tough. This is like, all the final girls are great. Like, it's still Nancy though. She's just so proactive. I really enjoy it. But you are correct to call me out. Corrections and omissions or whatever. I don't know.
We'll see how many episodes that stands up for.
There's a bunch of slashers I haven't seen. Who knows?
There
Maybe one of them is good.
This one was good.
This one was great. I've seen this one though. So, Zac, what was now that we've debated Final Girls? What was your familiarity with Scream before we watched it?
The crappy part about this movie, watching it for this podcast, I knew the twist, and that was the only thing.
Did you know the full twist?
I knew that Shaggy was the killer, and I didn't know Jamie Kennedy or the boyfriend. Like, I didn't know their faces enough.
One of them?
Yeah, I knew it was one of them.
Yeah.
So
damn,
I knew that, and I knew the whole phone call thing of like the call's coming from inside the house.
Iconic, yeah.
But I didn't know it was gonna happen at the beginning of the movie, and I didn't know
the biggest, most famous person in the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Was she famous at this point?
She was like, this was probably like the peak of Drew Barrymore. This was when she'd kind of, she'd been like a child actor and like kind of fallen off and had a rough time because of some things.
Yeah.
And this was like 96. She had like come back. She was like the star. So getting her literally got the movie made. So
she was E.T. was her.
Yes, that was her big breakout. E.T. Firestarter.
But yeah, so that's all I knew about the movie, which I wish I didn't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know where I learned the twist from.
It's just one of those, like, cause it's always on the list of like best twists in movies.
I think it was one of those.
Yeah, even if you tried to skip ahead, you'd see something. Like, luckily the movie, I don't. Did you like the movie? I should say. Okay.
The one thing I will say, John Carpenter and Wes Craven are 2 for 2 in my book.
Yeah, and why do you think they're my 2 favorites?
I know why, because they're my 2 favorites now too.
Yeah, Wes Craven is like my all-time goat, but like,
well, his movies have been great, but John Carpenter's still my goat.
That's fair. I get it. He's probably, not to speak ill of the dead, he's probably got more good movies than Wes Craven does. But
yeah, because I always knew John Carpenter's name. I never really knew Wes Craven.
John Carpenter, I think, kind of got a little more mainstream. Wes Craven, much to his chagrin, never could really quite break out of being Wes Craven horror director. Which he talked a lot about, like, resenting. He made one movie that you couldn't categorize as a horror movie called Music of the Heart. about Meryl Streep teaching inner city kids how to be in like an orchestra.
What? The guy who directed?
Yeah, he directed like a heartwarming movie about white saviorism, but he was trying. It was nice. Like, he shot the shit out of it. It looks fantastic. And Meryl Streep got nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, Wes Craven, man of many talents. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same with John Carpenter.
Yeah. He's got an Elvis movie. They both got music movies.
Yeah, there you go. I think Wes Craven probably needed a Kurt Russell. That would have broke him through.
I think that really would have helped. I should have just made it John Saxon from Nightmare on Elm Street. Imagine if he popped up in this movie. He could have been the voice of Ghostface.
Oh my God.
Sydney, I'm coming for you.
I forgot about him.
I will never let you forget about John Saxon.
I don't want to forget about John Saxon. Thank you for reminding me.
Cop Dad, John Saxon.
But what about Robert Englund?
I mean, Robert Englund's great. But...
He's great. Do you like the Kurt Russell thing of like putting him in an action movie? Like,
again, I think it's this tough thing. Robert Englund never broke out of it either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it sucks, but
I want to see like a Wes Craven, Robert Englund like action movie. Just him, like, he had all those one-liners in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Imagine that in an action movie.
I'm trying to get to the chopper.
Where's the British accent? It's Robert Englund, man.
All right, but Scream. So yeah, this is my all-time favorite horror movie, so I know a lot about it because I don't know if you can tell, I obsessively research movies when I enjoy them. I think that's the premise of this podcast. So,
and it's the premise of the killer of this movie.
Yeah. Well, so this movie was written by Kevin Williamson. It was a spec script he wrote called Scary Movie.
I wonder what other movie has. Sounds familiar.
Okay, quick sidebar. Did you see Scary Movie before this?
I've never seen any of those movies, and I never will.
They are very of their time. I was like 10 when they came out, so I watched the shit out of the first Scary Movie.
Matt,
the first one's good.
They were of their time during their time.
Yeah. Oh, no. They were like, if you had to make a movie, like a comedy that was like everything people think is funny in the year 2000 but will not be funny 1 year later, it's Scary Movie.
It's one of those things.
The first one.
Because I was alive as well. And I remember thinking at the time, wow, this is very 2000s while being in the 2000s.
Yeah. Oh, no, it is. But I would also argue Scream is like 1996 turned into a movie.
But I love that.
Yeah. It works better because they're all more talented.
I have a disdain for the 2000s. I think it was a very ugly decade.
It really was.
Yeah. But
moving on from that, but so I just was curious about, because I actually saw a Scary Movie before Scream, and it made me think like, oh, Scream must suck if they're making fun of it. God, these jokes are funny.
Matt,
I know.
I
was 10.
You just lost so much credibility as the residential expert.
I guarantee there's some movie in your past you don't want people to know you liked.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Did you really like it? Or?
Oh, I watched it many times.
Oh no, that's one of like a handful of movies that I started and was like, I'm good, and just never finished.
But Matt, just how Scream was your story, Malibu's Most Wanted was my story. I'm the white boy who's into hip hop.
Oh no, we're both Jamie Kennedy.
Oh no,
the worst. No offense to Jamie Kennedy, but the worst thing to be.
Matt, just to prove it to you, here's a bar from that movie.
Please don't.
Maverick, looking for my chapstick, feeling kind of car sick. There's a Ford Maverick.
Please stop. So Kevin Williamson wrote Scream.
And Jamie Kennedy starred in it.
Starred is a strong word. No, he's actually like one of my two favorite characters in this movie. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm just kidding. I actually love Jamie Kennedy in this movie. He's fantastic.
It's like the Johnny Depp where we had to make a specific name for it.
Let's not go nuts. He's not as bad as Johnny Depp.
No, I'm saying how we had to make a specific name for Johnny Depp specifically in that movie.
And we could just call him Randy. That's his character name.
I'll forget that instantly.
You have it on your phone. I saw you looking earlier.
Oh yeah, we figured it's probably a good idea to have the character names in front of us.
Gave away how the sausage is made. Kevin Williamson, you will know as a writer, his most popular things are Scream, the franchise. He wrote all but number 3, which is not great. The thing he's also most well known for are 2 TV shows that I guarantee you could not guess in a million years. One came out, I think, like the year after Scream and made him the hottest boy in Hollywood. He created Dawson's Creek.
You know, somehow that makes sense.
All the teen dialogue in this actually like works. So I'm like, yeah, of course he made a hit teen show. That makes sense. And then I think more recently his other big show was I think he was one of the showrunners on Vampire Diaries.
Also makes sense.
Which I heard was good. But if you like Kevin Williamson, like
those make sense.
Yeah. But would you have ever been like, from the creator of Scream comes Dawson's Creek?
Well, I mean, he was a writer. I think if Wes Craven did,
right? Well, Wes Craven did Music of the Heart, right?
True, but Wes Craven's Dawson Creek.
From Master of Horror, Wes Craven comes Dawson's Creek. I don't want to wait for my life to be over.
All right, so we're adding that one on the impressions list. We've got George Lucas. Horror movie and
voice guy.
Trailer guy. I feel like we've done another one.
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger. We did a Snape in one episode.
There you go. Yeah.
Kevin Williamson.
But yeah, so he writes this movie and he starts shopping it around. It gets picked up, and I guess we should just get into the movie because he's a horror movie obsessive, huge horror buff, and he just puts it all on the line in this movie, and I think it really shows.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad we've watched a couple other horror movies before watching
there was
this
a
one.
reason you were like, oh, slashers, we could throw Scream in there somewhere. I was like, it has to be at the end, and we have to watch Halloween first.
Yes. And it paid off.
Yes, because I would argue this movie is structured almost identically from Halloween.
I mean, they literally played it side by side.
Yeah. I love it. I love it when the music from the movie Scream starts blending into the music from Halloween is
amazing.
Oh my God. I love this movie. I'm sorry. So the opening scene, maybe the most iconic opening scene of the 90s, at least in horror. I love everything about it.
I mean, I haven't been into horror and I know about it just because it's pierced pop culture that much.
It's just good, and it's a reference to 2 movies. Throughout this, I'll be bringing up what it's like. Oh, this is just from that. It's from Black Christmas, where the killer makes creepy phone calls to all of his victims before he kills them, and it's from a movie called When a Stranger Calls, which is actually where the phone call, it's coming from inside the house, comes from. So this is like a direct reference to those 2 things, which is really fun.
Well, I forget what episode it was. I think it was the thing how we talked about being artists and nothing's really original. You kind of take from everything that inspires you.
Bad artists copy, good artists steal.
Yeah.
He just stole it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, getting scared by the killer on the phone. That's great. Let's take it one step farther and make that the character's whole MO.
Yeah.
Roger L. Jackson, the voice actor playing Ghostface, only on the phone. Absolutely kills it. We were talking about this before. He is also Mojo JoJo, of course.
Which I'm so sad I accidentally found out.
I know. I was saving that for right now.
I know.
But yeah, Ghostface is Mojo JoJo.
That's amazing. Now, somebody on YouTube has got to take clips from this and put Mojo JoJo's voice.
Have you ever watched CinemaSins?
Yeah.
I think they did that for their Scream episode.
Yes. Thank you, Cinema Sins.
Yeah. I enjoy them.
They're great.
But yeah, everything about the scene is just so well structured and well paced. Like that's what takes it from being just an homage to being its own thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's also the intent behind it, because you can tell when someone's just ripping something off and when someone's like showing love for something.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's taken me 8 episodes to bring it up, but Logic, favorite rapper ever, favorite person ever, he takes a lot of stuff from hip hop that's inspired him.
Yeah.
That came before him, but he wears his influences on his sleeve. He's not trying to hide it.
It
He's
doesn't
showing
feel
love.
like a bad ripoff.
Yeah, it's just showing love.
He's using it to take it a step further and make it its own thing.
Yeah.
I think this movie does that, and I think it does it brilliantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
This scene also is so good because if they didn't get it right, they weren't going to get to make the movie.
Mm.
Somewhat famously, they had a really hard time finding a ghost face mask because all it said in the script was the killer is white like a ghost. Obviously, kind of a reference to Michael Myers, like describing it as a big white shape,
Mm-hmm.
the shape, you know. Again, this movie is just Halloween in the 90s. But
Also, something that I wanted to ask on the topic of hip hop, is Ghostface Killer any reference to Ghostface Killer?
I like to think that they must be linked somehow.
I mean, it's the 90s, like Wu-Tang, like,
right? I mean, I'm trying to think of who came first. I guess Ghostface Killer, right?
yeah, I think Wu-Tang.
Yeah,
Was
I'm sure
around
they're pretty
first.
early in the 90s.
Yeah.
They come out with their first one.
At least I just hope it is.
Yeah,
'Cause that'd be good.
I know that his other nickname of Iron Man is a reference to Iron Man. There you go, the 2 hip hop facts I know.
Now you can start spitting bars
I'd rather not.
like Malibu's Most Wanted.
Again, I'd rather not. But yeah, they had a lot of trouble finding this mask, and they were trying to essentially make their own version of it because they found this mask, but then they couldn't get the copyright to it. So then they were just trying to make their own ripoff of it, but it looked, this doesn't sound bad, it looked too good. It looked like a mask designed by special effects artists.
Oh, okay.
Like you could tell, like, oh, it's a little too like molded. It's a little too detailed in places. It doesn't look like something, spoilers, 2 teenagers could just buy from a Halloween store.
Yeah.
So finally, though, they got clearance and they got to use the actual costume. And then immediately, the producer, one of 2 producers, one of the 2 heads of the studio that this was produced for, who shall remain nameless because they're monsters.
Oh, you told me.
Well, one of them is confirmed monster. One of them seems just like he might be a dick. He said it doesn't like look scary. Like in all the test photos you're showing me, this costume sucks. It's not scary.
Mm-hmm.
And the
That's
woman who was working.
That's a very producer thing to say.
Yeah, but I also kind of get it because you get photos back. Like, here's the costume we decided to go with, and it's like, that is literally a $10 suit from the Halloween store.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't wrong, but also, like, maybe trust some artists sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a reason you suck. So, Wes Craven and Kathy Conrad and Carrie Woods basically say to He Who Shall Not Be Named, let Wes film. It's only going to take a week. Let him film the opening scene. We really believe in him. Let him do it and then decide if we should have to change the mask. You can fire him. You can fire us. You own the script.
Yeah.
So they take the week, film it all. The scene is so amazing that apparently he called Wes Craven and was like, what the fuck do I know? You've made horror movies longer than I have. Good job, dude. Keep making your movie.
When you can like shut up a monster like that,
Right.
That's amazing. Shout out Wes Craven,
Hell yeah.
man.
Wes Craven's the best, man.
Yeah.
So, but also everything about this movie was like an accident. So you've got Kevin Williamson's script and it's absolutely amazing. And they offer it to 3 different directors. They offer it to, I believe, Sam Raimi, who turns it down because he's like, I have no interest in a slasher movie. I'm going to make Spider-Man in a few years.
Had he done Evil Dead yet?
He had probably just come off of like Army of Darkness and into the Oscar-nominated Sling Blade. But like, I would really like to see a Sam Raimi Scream because it's probably way funnier.
Oh yeah, it would be over the top for sure.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I forget who the other director they offered it to was because I just desperately want to see Sam Raimi's. But then they also go to their first choice, who is Wes Craven, who promptly turns it down. The second they're like, so we have this slasher movie script, he goes, no. I spent most of my careers making, as he phrased it in, I believe the documentary Still Screaming, which is a major source. If you want some cool knowledge about this movie, go look it up. He says, I've been making movies my whole career about women getting cut up and I'm just tired of it. So no, I'm not going to do a slasher movie without even reading the script. And then they call him back 2 weeks later and say, Drew Barrymore has signed on to play the lead Sidney Prescott. And he says, great, send me the script. Because he knows like, oh, well, she's super famous. I'll get all the money I want. I can do whatever I want with this movie.
Yeah.
He reads the script. He absolutely loves it. He officially signs on. And then Drew Barrymore calls him and says, oh, by the way, I don't want to play the lead anymore. I want to play the girl that gets killed in the first scene.
Oh, no.
And he goes, oh, fantastic. That's the ultimate twist. And we'll still get all the money for being able to say this is a Drew Barrymore movie.
That's pretty good. That's good.
But we won't have to pay you as much because you're only in one scene.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it works out for everybody.
Yeah. And she was like stoked because she was like, awesome. I've always wanted to get killed in a horror movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now she's one of the most iconic.
Yeah. And if anything had gone right, this movie wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah.
Because then the opening scene would be just some person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Drew Barrymore would have been great as Sydney, but that scene only has so much power because you're like, oh, it's Drew Barrymore. Cool. What?
I mean, that was literally my reaction. Because I knew she was in it and I knew she's in that scene. So I was like expecting it to come later, not right away. One of the most iconic movie opening lines of all time. You know, what's your favorite scary movie? Yeah. And it's so good. Right away, I was just thinking, man, I'm so glad I've seen these movies now because this is great. Because they just start running through horror movie trivia. Yeah. This is if everybody in Tarantino movies is obsessed with like 70s like noir films, this movie is like, oh no, everyone, including the cool kids, is way too into slasher movies. Yeah. Because when she's like, yeah, I'm 16 and I've seen all of these, I'm like, you guys didn't even have streaming. Like, how did you? Randy has curated a fantastic video store collection for you guys. Oh, that video store was popping. Hell yeah, man. Well, that's because of the curfew, though. Well, Randy was also like their residential Tarantino. Yeah. I mean, that's the bit. Yeah. He's Kevin Williamson. Yeah. Kevin Williamson sucked. Back to the main movie. We'll get to Randy later. Yeah. I have a lot to say about Randy. Everyone's a suspect. But yeah, I mean, Roger Jackson just kills that voice performance though, because at first you understand why she would kind of stay on the phone with this dude. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, this guy's pretty smooth. Clearly it's Billy, right? Clearly he's got the mojo. And maybe JoJo. His name's JoJo. Never should have let you find this out. No, you shouldn't, because it's my favorite thing about this movie now. That's fair. That's fair. Even if I didn't know the twist, this movie is clearly like not doing the stereotypical horror movie things. So I figured they were like making him the red herring. Oh, it's a weird thing of, this movie is too clever to make it be the boyfriend. Or does the movie know that I think it's too clever to make it be the boyfriend? Or does the movie know that I know that it thinks that it's too clever? So then when they actually do reveal it, you're like, oh shit, like you forgot. Yeah. Like, yeah, he's sitting there bleeding. Yeah. But that's at the end of the movie. Yeah. Yes. So Ghostface kills her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, I have an interesting question for each of these kills. Who do you think did it? I think it's Billy on the phone. Stu is the one killing them.
But I think they're both there in Ghostface costumes. The joke is,
Yeah.
you know, when they say, like, guess which door I'm behind? They're behind both doors,
Yeah.
you know, but only one of them could be on the phone because they stole someone's cell phone.
Yeah.
But
I think Billy was Ghostface whenever he was going after Sydney.
I can see that. Yeah, because he's at the house.
Yeah.
And then Stu would be on the phone.
Yeah, and he has more motivation to go after her.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. I have so many more questions about that scene. You know what? Screw it. So Ghostface kills the boyfriend of Drew Barrymore and then kills Drew Barrymore. And it's really upsetting because her parents listened to her die on the phone. And that scarred me for life.
That's right. It was so sad.
Yes.
It was like on par with the 28 Days Later parents note thing.
Why? Why'd you bring it back up?
Because we gotta log these sad memories.
I know. Good horror movies have two things: humor and sadness, not just kills.
Just like our podcast. We're putting that up on the list right next to George Lucas impressions.
Horror and sadness. Yes. And then we like smash cut after the sped up bit, the weird 90s editing, which was not intentional. The MPAA said they were going to give it an NC-17 if they didn't cut out like 10 seconds from that scene. So they just cut out every other frame of the camera pushing it on her body. Because Wes Craven has been dealing with them since the 80s. And he's just like, I'm so sick of you guys. Fuck it. Just cut out every other frame. They said 10 seconds. Screw them.
Wes Craven, man. Shout out.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Love that guy. And then we jump cut to Sydney in her room and Billy climbs up the window.
Wait, were you asking who was killing them in the beginning scene?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about at the end.
Oh, no. I think in the beginning scene, I think Billy's on the phone and Stu is the one that kills them. Because later on, Stu says, oh, yeah, I go hunting. I know how to cut open an animal.
Because I also did notice a height difference sometimes.
Which you shouldn't have, because it's only one dude playing Ghostface. Yeah, it's a stunt
Maybe
double.
I'm just imagining it.
And then they had them like dub in the grunts and stuff.
Okay. Then I'm just imagining it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think just because I already knew the twist, I was imagining it.
Yeah, you insert this stuff into it because it's a good move. Because Ghostface is kind of formless, so you can do whatever you want with him.
Who's doing the acting in Ghostface?
Brian Avery was the stuntman for Ghostface.
Brian Avery.
He brings like some really cool physicality to it, like wiping the knife.
Mm-hmm. And like whenever he would run or kind of like throw his hands and all the stringy bits on his arm would kind of like have a floaty effect. Because in
he looks like a ghost.
Yeah. In Dead by Daylight, they added Ghostface. And whenever he walks around, he kind of like floats and like has this physicality to him. So I was excited to see the movie.
And he actually has it.
Yeah, he actually has it.
It's just a dude though, like which makes it even cooler.
Yeah. So what was his name again?
Brian Avery.
Brian Avery and Roger Jackson bringing Ghostface to life. Unsung heroes for sure. Yeah. Like Gunnar Hansen.
Yes.
Leatherface.
He was Leatherface in the first Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah. The real heroes.
Yes. And apparently wiping the knife only happened because they were getting ready for to keep going with the opening scene. And Wes Craven said, oh, shit. What? Your knife is clean now. And it wasn't clean in the last shot. So how are we going to explain it? And he just goes, ooh, what? They're like, I guess we'll just get somebody over here to like put more on it. And he goes, no. Put it on it and then I'll wipe it off. And we'll just shoot that real quick. And just insert it.
Yeah.
So that was Brian Avery's idea.
Brian Avery.
Yeah.
Man.
Killing it. Literally.
Yeah. Literally. Always killing it.
Yeah. Good movie.
Very good movie. So on with the rest of the movie.
Yes. So Billy goes into her room, which I love because when you're watching it the first time, you're just like, oh, he's her boyfriend. He's like paying her a visit because he wants to get laid. Mm. And even like the first time you like rewatch it, it'll be like, oh, because that's right. Because they are trying to play by slasher movie rules, but it's not either of those. He just needs an alibi. She will say, oh, he was at my house. He broke into my room. Mm-hmm. He can't be the killer. It's one of those like little things that like you catch something new every time you go back to it because this movie's really well made.
Yeah. And I got total Nightmare on Elm Street vibes.
Yeah.
How he was like wrongly air quotes sent to prison, like the character in Nightmare.
Yeah, like the boyfriend of the first girl. All the names are just gone, guys. I'm sorry if you're listening to this. Like, who? So are we.
Leather Jacket Man, not to be confused with Leatherface Man.
Yes, and not to be confused with Crappy Toppy Johnny.
Definitely not. Crappy. How could you confuse Crappy Toppy Johnny?
Actually, apparently, that was a big part of why they cast Skeet Ulrich as his character in this movie.
His
as
name
Billy
is
Loomis.
Skeet
His
Ulrich?
name is Skeet Ulrich.
That's amazing.
Skeet Ulrich.
Oh, that's amazing. Also, his name's Billy Loomis.
Yes. See, another Halloween nod. Very fun.
Very fun. I think that's literally what I said.
Well, another way you know that he's the killer stalking his victim, in the scene where he goes into her bedroom, the song that underscores the whole scene is an acoustic cover of Don't Fear the Reaper, which is what plays the first time Laurie Strode sees Michael Myers.
Wow.
Yeah, like the deep
cuts.
cuts go deep in this movie.
Because when I was playing, I was thinking, why does this sound so familiar?
Yeah.
But I couldn't really...
Because Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson are playing like 5-dimensional chess with this movie. It's fantastic.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is the best way to describe this movie.
They are playing on like whole other levels that you don't even realize.
That's amazing. Scream, 5-dimensional chess.
Yeah. That's why it's good. That's why even though it is a movie that, like so many of these movies that we've watched, can only exist in the year it came out.
Yeah.
It holds up.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's just so good.
So Skeet, what were you saying about Skeet Ulrich?
Oh, he was
Crappy Toppy
cast
Johnny?
because supposedly he kind of like gave off a Crappy Toppy Johnny vibe.
He did with the hair.
Yeah. Yeah, and he got a little in the face, you know. Pointy faced white guy.
given the smolder.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a nice smolder. I'll give him that.
So Crappy Toppy Johnny and
so
not
they're
Crappy
kinda
Toppy
linked.
Loomis.
Yeah. But
Crappy Toppy Loomis.
So
like Halloween Loomis.
Yes.
In a crop top.
He's in the same outfit. No, Nancy, I can't come save you. I'm watching my television.
I'm too beautiful to be bothered.
Still just 50-year-old Donald Pleasance. I have to shoot him 6 times. I've got my own killer.
What if there's just a time trap? Like Loomis is like Doctor Who in all these horror movies. Each person named Loomis is just Doctor Who. Doctor Who Loomis.
Yeah,
confirmed.
I believe it.
Believe in the Loomis.
He's secretly Dewey the whole time.
Dun, dun.
But so from there, we get this nice, well, not nice, because like immediately Billy Loomis is a creep who's like, come on, just do it. Don't you know what you do to me?
And he did that weird analogy with like movie ratings.
Yeah. Well, I love, because at the end they talk about like watch a few horror movies, have a good time. His introduction is him going, oh, I was at home watching The Exorcist. 5-dimensional chess.
I started to get that at the end, but before I knew all that, when he was like, when we first started our relationship, we were rated R, heading to NC-17. I was like, oh my God, this is some teenage boy shit right here. Like, oh my God, it's killing me.
Yeah. It's accurate, but yeah.
But then he's like delivering it with that like movie star smolder. I'm like, I want to be mad at it, but look at that hair.
You understand why she's like, oh, Billy.
Yeah.
Instead of like, what the fuck, man? Gee, my mom got murdered.
Yeah.
Like, which just makes him even more, well, for so many reasons, makes him even more of a creep. But even if he hadn't been the killer, that would almost make it worse. It's like, oh, he's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, pretty much.
But her dad almost comes in, and this movie is also like a masterclass in how to do exposition without it feeling forced. Says like, oh, don't forget I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like just like casually throws it off so that we all know, oh, he's going to be out of town.
And then doing the dad thing of like running through the checklist of like, where am I staying at?
Yeah.
Where can you reach me?
So then later when they're like, we can't reach him at the hotel. He never got to the city.
Yeah.
They say he never boarded his flight. You know that checklist.
Yeah, it's already in your head.
Kevin Williamson's so good.
Yeah. 5-dimensional
Yeah.
chest.
And then from there, we now cut to the high school, which is a fantastic setting that comes with a lot of baggage behind the scenes. Well, it wound up being shot at like 3 different places. The exterior is one high school. The interior is another high school. And neither of them were the high school they wanted to shoot at. They wanted to shoot at a specific high school that they found location scouting that looked amazing. And then the school found out they were doing a horror movie and they said no. And in the credits, if you watch when it comes up for special thanks and it says, like so-and-so, it says, and no thanks to this school. Because they had approved it, they started getting ready. They started like booking flights to fly people to this school. And then the school board was like, oh, we didn't know you were shooting a horror movie. That's inappropriate. So Wes Craven is like was still mad.
That's amazing. Shout out Wes Craven for the millionth time.
But just turned it into a fun joke.
Yeah.
But we get there and we meet their principal, the Fonz.
Amazing.
Henry Winkler, who I love.
He's so good.
He's very good, This movie like reinvented his career, apparently.
Yeah, you said that in a different episode. I forget what it was. Or
I don't know if it was. I think we might have just been talking.
Yeah.
But one of my friends has a SAG card, so he got to go to an evening with Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
For SAG, and he was like, "Oh, I get to bring one person. I know you love Arrested Development. You should come."
Yeah.
And somebody asked him about Scream, which for me was like, yay. I didn't think this would happen.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, I was friends with Wes Craven. We used to get lunch like every Tuesday. Really sweet, because he's like, I just miss him so much, and I'm so glad I got to be in one of his movies. Which is really sweet. And then he was like, and he gave me my career back, because I started becoming more of like a TV producer because no one would cast me, because everyone just said, oh, it's Fonzie. And Wes said like, oh, I'm sick of them wasting you, man. Come to my set. I got a role for you. You're going to be the least cool, biggest asshole of all time. And he did, and he kills it. And then like immediately he starts getting asked to do comedies.
Yeah. And
not be the Fonz. Because they're like, oh, you're the fun guy from Scream.
Yeah.
And that's like, he said like, you can draw like a straight through line between Scream and me getting the role on Arrested Development, because he's basically playing the same character.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just so good.
He's the best.
It's so good. Yeah, because I never knew him as the Fonz.
Oh, you didn't grow up on Happy Days reruns?
No, not at all. I only knew him from comedies.
Yeah.
So that was always my impression of him.
Yeah.
But
literally, apparently Adam Sandler, big Scream fan, because that's why he called him to be in like The Water Boy. He was like, oh, I loved you in Scream. Do you want to be in my new movie?
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
But yeah, everyone at the school is now being interviewed by the police, because everyone is a suspect, as I said before. We get to meet kind of like the whole cast, but we meet my 2 favorite characters also. We meet Randy, played by your boy, the Malibu's Most Wanted,
Jamie Kennedy.
And we meet MVP of the whole fucking movie, Matthew Lillard,
as
Stu Macher.
Stu Macher. He looks like a stew.
Yeah.
He really does.
He is doing something in this movie. Even he has said, I have no idea why Wes Craven let me do that. But it works so well.
So good.
Every line is delivered at a 10, and I love everything about it.
It's one of those things that could have gone so bad and been the worst thing about the movie, but he did it so good.
Everything about this movie is a beautiful accident.
Yeah.
Or as Movies with Mikey on Film Joy just did an episode on Scream, and he describes it as movies are a miracle because they are a dart dropped from the sky and an airplane as high as you can go, and it hits a bullseye.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
and then we meet Randy, who Jamie Kennedy. Not everybody loves him, but if nothing else, I love him in this movie. I think he is so perfectly cast, and he just knocks it out of the park as Lonely Nerd.
Absolutely.
But also, like, he is also at a 10 the whole movie.
Yeah.
He enters doing a Jerry Lewis impression. Like,
Also, I just realized Mojo JoJo and Shaggy are in the same movie.
I guarantee he's done his voice on a Scooby-Doo cartoon at some point.
Roger
Yeah,
Jackson.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
He's been a bad guy or something.
I'm sure he must.
And then besides my two favorite characters in the movie, we meet Tatum, played by Rose McGowan, who is kind of awesome in this movie. Also, like I like all of the characters in this movie.
Yeah.
And I like that she's like, just like, no, don't fuck with my friend. Like the whole movie, she's like on it.
That's one thing that I was gonna say that I really took away from this movie. I don't know if it's because this movie's so amazing or just the passage of time, but in the other movies, all the teenagers were just kind of like dicks and like you could tell it was like acting. In this
Right.
movie, it was very real.
Well, apparently, like the cast of this movie Roundup really like tightened it, like
Yeah.
to the point where a bunch of them started dating and 2 of them got married.
Oh,
Courtney Cox and David Arquette were married for 15 years.
what?
They only got divorced after Scream 4.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
And they also get introduced right around here. So let's jump into them. Dewey, played by David Arquette, who is excellent at being like inept but charming.
Yeah, he was very charming throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
You just
Dewey.
like him. Like you're
Yeah.
like, he's not an idiot, but like you get the feeling like
He's trying his best.
yeah. He's inexplicably the deputy. He is the second in command of the
Yeah.
police force in this town. And Courtney Cox as
Which
Gail Weathers.
I didn't know it was in this movie.
Yeah.
And she was a brunette in the movie, so I didn't recognize her for the first couple
Yeah,
of
'cause
scenes.
she has lighter hair.
Yeah. And then when I realized, oh my god, it's Monica.
Right.
What?
So the 2 of them actually really had to fight for their parts. David Arquette was approached to play one of the teenagers. All I can think is he must have been asked to play Randy,
Yeah.
because he would probably kill that. Like,
Yeah.
I could see those 2 swapping parts. And Courtney Cox was like, cast me. And they're like, no, you're Monica. She's like, yeah, that's what's going to make it work. And like, it took her like fighting Wes Craven to get him to go like fight the studio and be like, no, she should be in this movie. Like she came in and apparently just floored him with her audition. And he was like, no, I'm going to fight for you now. You're going to be in my movie. Because Wes Craven is awesome.
Wes Craven, champion
Yeah.
of the people.
Yeah. What feels like a random scene with the principal after we see 2 douchebags running through the halls dressed as Ghostface.
Well, first, Sydney gets attacked by Ghostface.
Oh, she got attacked at home. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I forgot that. Yeah. They go to school and everything and get interviewed, and then they get attacked. She gets attacked at home.
Yeah, and then that's
Which-
when Billy shows up
Yes.
and gets framed for it.
Another 5-dimensional chess thing. When she's on the phone with Ghostface, she says, I don't know, it's all just about a bunch of like dumb bimbos who run upstairs when they should run out the front door. He gets her cornered and she has to run upstairs to
Yeah.
get away. 5-dimensional chess.
5-dimensional.
But she's a really, and I think this is the Craven touch, because clearly he's like sick of like not proactive final girls. She like is like dialing 911 on her computer. She's throwing bikes
Yeah.
downstairs, which who keeps bikes at the top of the stairs? She is jumping out windows in
Yeah.
clear Texas Chainsaw homages.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah.
I love Sydney.
Yeah. She's one of
Which
the best.
we have failed to mention, of course, played by Neve Campbell. She's excellent in this movie.
Yeah.
She was just she was on Party of 5 at the time. She had to put in the most hours because that show was filming at the same time that Scream was.
Ooh.
So she would literally like go shoot Scream. Like unless it was an exterior shot, they would just shoot at night. So she would shoot Scream all night, and then she would like sleep in the car, and they would drive or on the plane, and she would go to wherever they were filming Party of 5,
Jeez.
and then like wake up and start shooting.
Man.
And she still kills it.
Yeah.
So
It would have worked out if she was a Nancy.
what?
That's the character.
From Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, because she was sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because she must have been tired. You know? She can't live
Method
Freddy Krueger.
acting. If
Yeah.
she was a nightmare.
For a second, you scared me because I thought I had the wrong name.
I just didn't know why you went, she's a Nancy. What?
Your favorite final girl, Matt? Or have you forgotten?
Hey, She is. Yeah, I think she's great in this movie. I think she kind of goes underrated. I think a lot of people overlook her performance.
Yeah, because I mean, I only knew Drew Barrymore, who's in the beginning of the movie, and Shaggy.
Well, yeah, when it's the most famous woman in the world at the time, and Matthew Lillard at a 12 instead of a 10. Like,
yeah,
it's. I think it's easy to get overlooked.
Yeah.
But I think her part is really like subdued and nuanced in a lot of ways. Maybe the most in tune with the like 5-dimensional chess game that's going on.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, how this one felt the most real. I really felt it when she was in the bathroom and those girls were talking shit on her mom.
Breaks my heart.
And then the next scene, Billy started like being like, well, like, get over your mom dying. Dead. Like, I felt that.
Yeah, if he wasn't the killer, he would suck more.
Yeah.
Somehow, like.
Yeah. Yeah, her acting.
Yeah.
Was really, really good.
Right. And she like what I was trying to get at, she is the most in tune with like, I almost like she knows she's in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And but she chooses where most people would choose to make that like more over the top.
Mm-hmm.
She chooses to play it almost exhausted by being in a horror movie.
Yeah, like
she's like, yeah, I already did one horror movie, now I'm in another one.
She has the trademark, I'm too high for this.
Yeah, exactly.
As seen in our Halloween episode.
Yes, go listen to it, featuring Tim.
Featuring the elusive, exclusive Tim.
Yes. But from there, now we go to the school where the two guys are running through the hall dressed as Ghostface.
Yeah, because they're
douchebags. Yeah, like who does that? Like literally 2 people were murdered. Maybe if her house got broken into, it would be like, those douchebags. But that's like, you 2 are monsters.
Yeah, when Henry Winkler was like throwing the scissors at him and like yelling at him, I was like, yeah, tell him.
Nailed it, dude.
Yeah.
All right. One of my favorite bits in this movie, when he is doing the scissors at them. What sound did it make?
Like the...
No, it goes shing, shing like a knife. Later, when Ghostface kills him, spoilers, when he is stabbing him, it does not make the shing, shing sound. It goes sh, sh, like scissors.
This movie's 5-dimensional chess! Yeah! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah. What?
I love this movie.
There's so many deep cuts.
Yeah, including wonderful cameo by Wes Craven in the least subtle scene in this movie.
I died.
Not you, Fred. He's there dressed as Freddy Krueger.
As a janitor, just like the scene from Nightmare.
Yeah. Again, 5-dimensional chess, but also like, geez, a little on the nose, Wes.
Well, I didn't know it was directed by, I knew, but I forgot it was directed by Wes Craven. So when he showed up, I was like, wow, how did they get Wes Craven in this? As Freddy Krueger.
Good get, guys. Good get.
Those are my literal thoughts.
But now that she's been attacked, and the principal, they don't know the principal has been killed yet, but now that she's been attacked in her own home, and she got a call, I believe, at school from Ghostface.
Ghostface showed up.
Yeah.
In the stall.
Everything. Like, it all goes down. So finally we get to the biggest set piece of the whole movie that they called like the most grueling 2 weeks of anyone's lives in film. The party. Stu throws a party because there is a curfew so everyone can sneak out. Because teenagers.
Yeah.
And we get some of like the other most iconic bits in this movie. You get Randy explaining the rules of a horror movie, which I love.
That was amazing.
You get Stu being nuts. Again, 5-dimensional chess. Who's the only person in the whole movie who says, I'll be right back?
Stu.
Who dies?
Stu.
Boom. 5-dimensional chess. That's one of the rules. The rules, of course, being you can't have sex, you can't drink or do drugs, and you can't say, I'll be right back. Stu says, I'll be right back. Billy has sex. They both drink and do drugs.
But
so does everyone else. But
that was one of my favorite lines when Jamie Kennedy springs back up and she was like, I thought you were dead.
Never been so glad to be a virgin.
I should be. I'm glad I'm a virgin. That's so good.
He just gets right in the face.
But yeah, so party happens.
Yeah,
people
Gail
start
shows up with a
dying.
cop.
Yeah, Dewey. Just
I love
doing
though that
Dewey.
Dewey's like, it's a small town. We know what you guys do. It's fine. Just don't drive,
Yeah.
which they all do.
Oh yeah.
But then we get to a creepy scene, Rose McGowan's death with the garage door,
Yeah.
which I think is a really well executed scene of tension that has a payoff that should be good, but that dummy head sucks.
Oh yeah. And finally got what I wanted. Somebody throwing beer at somebody.
Which, real beer bottles.
Oh no.
He was supposed to try to. It was like they're real beer bottles, but they'll shatter on the ground pretty easy. So just chuck them at him. The stoner guy was like, "Yeah, for sure," and then she immediately hit him directly in the chest. Brian Avery out there killing it.
Brian Avery. I'm so sorry.
Real hero of this movie.
I'm so sorry, Brian.
Yeah, but then Ghostface gets her, smushes her head in the door, which conceptually I really love.
Yeah.
There is an homage to it in Scream 4 that I think maybe pulls it off a little better effects wise. But like, I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm not here to like. Most of the effects in this movie are pretty good.
At least
but
it wasn't, the final shot of the movie like another Wes Craven movie
Right.
with a bad mannequin. I also think we're like getting into the horror movie territory of, man, you can't just like stab anybody anymore. We got to think of creative ways to
Right.
do this sort of thing.
Yeah, this franchise really kind of suffers from that in that it's got to be just someone with a knife every time.
Yeah.
Like the movie is explicitly the real world, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So you can't be like, oh no, now one of them's a zombie and he's super strong.
Yeah.
But they find ways around it. I mean, her death, conceptually, her death is pretty cool. Then everybody leaves the party to go try to see the principal's body because teenagers are the worst. Billy shows up.
At that.
Yeah. Billy shows up and has sex with Sydney, meaning she can be a target now. And then all hell breaks loose.
And that scene was mirrored with Halloween and
Yes.
Jamie Kennedy describing the rules.
Yes.
Amazing.
It-
5-dimensional
It's
chess.
so good. And one of my favorite cross-cut moments of all time. Come on, where are the tits? Oh, here they are. And then it cuts to her taking her top off upstairs.
And the exact same scene in Halloween.
Yeah, it's great.
Amazing.
5-dimensional. But now all hell is breaking loose. They kill Kenny. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. The cameraman.
You bastard.
Of course.
Not them, you.
Yeah.
For making that.
Gail and Dewey, Gooey is their couple name, of course,
Amazing.
discover that Sydney's father's car is at the house. They've been looking for him all this time. Could he be the killer?
Probably
No.
not. No.
Yeah, fine. And then we do get our killer reveal after some like awesome moments, like when Randy and Stu are both outside the house and they're like, let me in. No, let me in.
Yeah.
And something I caught this time, only time I've ever noticed it. And I'm like, oh, this is how she should have known and just shot Stu. When they're yelling like why she should let them in. Like when Randy's like, he's crazy. I don't know what's happening. I think there's a dead body over there. Stu starts like naming victims.
Oh.
He's yelling like, he did it. He killed her. He killed Rose McGowan's character. He killed the cameraman. He killed Billy. No one should know that Billy is dead except for Sydney.
Wow.
She should have been right then like, oh, it's you, Randy, get in the house. And then Billy comes stumbling down the stairs, shoots Randy, quotes Psycho, and now we have our greatest, one of the best twists. Like, it's him, and you're like, oh, it was Billy. And then Stu comes in, and she's like, Stu, help me. And he looks terrified.
Yeah.
And then he goes, favorite line in the whole movie. It's the only Ghostface impression I can do. Surprise, Sydney. I love it. 2 killers.
Yeah.
Why? This was never in a slasher movie before. It was never 2
Yeah.
killers. It's so obvious.
It makes me so sad it was spoiled for me.
I know. I'm sorry.
It makes me so sad.
But it explains all of the tropes that are in horror movies, like the teleporting killers.
yeah.
Now makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like clearly Billy watched all these horror movies and said, well, I need an accomplice.
Do this.
Yeah. And then they reveal they were actually the ones that killed Sydney's mother.
Bum, bum, bum. Because Sydney's mother slept
Yeah.
with Billy's dad.
Yeah, it wasn't Sabretooth, Liev Schreiber.
Who was in it for 2 seconds.
He's in the sequels though.
Ah,
Yeah.
fun.
I love Liev Schreiber.
Yeah. So,
Apparently he had just been in a Dimension movie. He'd been in Phantoms.
and then they start messing with Sydney and stab each other to make it look like it.
Seems so good.
And then they start fighting a little bit, which I was expecting like Sydney to like poke the fire and make them go against each other.
No, man, she just gets out of there.
Yeah, she just gets out of there.
Nope.
But then my favorite like entire quote was when she called Billy and then Billy hands the phone to Stu and Stu's like, "Did you really call the police? My parents are gonna be so mad at me." Every single line during that scene was so
apparently
good.
they just because another master stroke of this movie is they just got a closed circuit phone and would have them talk to each other on the phone instead of talking from off camera. So like anytime someone is talking to Roger Jackson in this movie, they're actually talking to him on the phone live.
Wow.
And they're just riffing. So like in this, they did that and just said Nev Campbell riff, Matthew Lillard riff. They let Matthew Lillard just go nuts. You hit me with the phone, you dick. Right, we did miss one thing though when they're explaining their motives. It's I think the best line in the whole movie, and it is the thesis statement of the movie, which is movies don't make psychos, movies make psychos more creative. Movies aren't dangerous, bad people are.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because, you know, obviously people immediately blamed this movie for any murders that happened right after it.
Of course.
People tried to blame Columbine on this movie.
Wow.
It's terrible and gross.
Yeah.
So the fact that this movie had the prescience to say that, and like even now it's still a relevant line, and I love it. So Sydney finally gets the upper hand, saves Randy, who gets punched in the face.
Also, they brought her dad.
Yeah, they saved her dad, who they were going to frame for everything, which is bad plan.
Yeah.
Also, don't stab each other before everyone's dead.
Yeah, that's the one part.
Go outside, double tap, kill her, then stab each other.
Yeah. You're setting yourself up for disaster, man. Then Monica jumps through the door.
Yes. Well, that's how Sydney gets away. She
Yeah.
comes in and tries to use Dewey's gun, who everyone thinks Dewey's dead. Doesn't turn the safety off. Rookie mistake. Action movie Freddy Krueger would be so disappointed in you.
I want it so bad now.
They finally get the upper hand. Sydney kills Stu with a TV, which is a great homage to a nightmare movie you haven't seen yet, so I won't ruin it.
Okay.
Where someone gets killed with a TV.
Okay.
And then of course, Billy, they managed to shoot him.
Yeah.
With Courtney Cox's great line. Didn't have the safety on that time, asshole.
And then Randy's great line of, "Watch out, this is the part where
The killer
comes back up for the final scare." And then he does and shoots him in the head.
I love the noise that he makes, which is when he pops back up.
It's literally like,
But at the same time, it makes sense because he thinks he's making a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, because it would be easy to be like, why didn't he just lay there? He could then try to like be like, no, she went nuts. They killed all these people. They did. Look how beat up I am.
Yeah.
I got shot twice. It's them. Randy snapped. She wanted a story.
Yeah.
But he can't do that because he's making a horror movie and he has to follow the rules.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I would say, like, let's get into the making of this movie, but I kind of gave all my tidbits throughout because they're just so good because I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
So let's jump right to how do we tie this to Tarantino?
Randy is literally Tarantino, but for horror movies. Working in a video store, talking about movies.
Well, I mean, the easy one is Rose McGowan is in a Tarantino movie. She's in Grindhouse.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's good. I like them.
That's the one Tarantino movie I've never seen.
A lot of people prefer the Robert Rodriguez half of that, but I actually really like the Tarantino for half.
I bet you money that I'll feel the same way.
I don't know. The people who complain about the Tarantino half are not wrong. because it finds him at his most like, oh, look what I know. Oh, did you know this? And it's like not just about movies, which is when he can get kind of annoying.
But that's why I love Tarantino.
Right. So like the people who like don't like that one, I'm like, you're not wrong. Because then the Robert Rodriguez half is just like a nutso zombie movie that's like super over the top and really fun. So like I get it. All right. So that's Scream. I love this movie. It's my favorite. I can't wait to make you watch all the other ones.
Yeah. We need to figure out how we're going to handle sequels and franchises.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I love Scream. We'll figure out these franchises some other time.
Yeah. To lead into next month, which will be December, Ghostface is the killer. And we are going to do Ghosts.
Yeah. What are we starting with, Zach?
Oh, God. What are we starting?
We're going with a ghost slasher. To ease our way into it, we're going to start with the Tony Todd classic, Candyman.
Which I've heard many good things about, but haven't been spoiled about anything.
I'm so glad.
I've just heard it's good.
It's a really good movie.
Cool. I'm very excited to watch it.
All right. So, Zach, where can everybody find you on social medias and things?
You can find me at Zac Shirk on Instagram and ZachShirk.com. Matt, where can they find you? You
can find me on just about everything as I Draw Paintings. And you can, of course, follow me on my Facebook page, Matt Merys, for art.
And also, we're about 8 episodes in now. We are on, as of recording this, we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube. So
we're on everything.
Yeah. So wherever you listen to us, give us a like, give us a follow, rating.
Please.
Give us some comments, some feedback.
We would love to hear from you guys. Yeah. If there's a movie you want us to cover, if you think there's a good theme, we just closed our second theme ever, slasher.
Yeah.
You know, if there's something like that you want to hear about, please let us know.
Yeah. Now that we're starting to get rolling, trying things out, getting the hang of things.
We got this horror train rolling.
Yeah. So let us know what you think, what you want to hear from us next. And why
are we slowly drifting into NPR voice? Oh, and also don't forget to follow Supermoon on all the social medias.
Yes. Hey Supermoon on Twitter, Supermoon Studio on Instagram, supermoonsociety.com, where you can find links to where you can listen to all of us at. And with that, remember, your principal loves you. And get home safe.
Bye.
Bye.